Welcome into the Extra Point, presented by American Jewelry with two great locations in Brentwood and Mount Juliet. 15% off anything and everything in the store if you tell them A to Z Sports sent you. So go see the Blue family today. They've been making custom handmade jewelry in the Mid-State since 1974. Their website is american.jewelry. Zach, Tuesday morning show had some rough patches because of technology, but we did get our power cord on our camera figured out, and we've got a replacement here. It's been tested, so Wednesday morning show will be smooth sailing from that.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Now, knock on wood, all that stuff.
The technological gods, you don't know when they're going to rain.
The IT guy doesn't want us to jinx anything.
Yeah.
But we do want to continue a conversation that we started to have. It was about Derrick Henry, where I think Derrick Henry right now is more like Chris Johnson than he is like Eddie George, even though he looks like Eddie George. And why I think Derrick Henry is more like Chris Johnson than he is like Eddie George is that he is a one-dimensional running back. Chris Johnson...
That's heavy words right there.
Chris Johnson was not a complete running back because he was a home run hitter and he had plenty of strikeouts. How many times do you guys remember Chris Johnson getting tackled for 0 yards or a loss during his Titans career? Maybe because he was trying to tippy-toe around to hit the home run, because he had a lot of success doing that early in his career. Derrick Henry, in my opinion, while he's not tippy-toeing around, I just don't think he's fit in his running style to be a between the tackles type runner. Derrick Henry is much better when he gets out there on the edge. If you think about all of Derrick Henry's big runs in his career, including the 61-yarder that got called back from a phantom hold on Sunday against the Dolphins, they've all been to the outside, to the left. Remember the Colts last year, the Texans last year, to the left side. I mean, Sunday was to the right side, but Derrick Henry's at his best when he gets going downhill on an outside zone run. And that's kind of what Chris Johnson was good at too. Dion Lewis is more of a complete back than Derrick Henry is at this point. And I'm not saying Derrick Henry is Chris Johnson. I'm just saying he's more like Chris Johnson than he's like Eddie George. But he looks like he's Eddie George, and people expect him to be that battering ram of a running back, which at this point, he's not that.
All right, those are some heavy words because you're calling Derrick Henry, a guy that you've doubted from day one, a one-dimensional running back. Why that's incorrect is Chris Johnson was a one-dimensional running back in running the ball of long yardage, 80-yard runs. But Derrick Henry can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's more than one dimension. He can do more than just run out on the outside and run away from people. I think you're discrediting 22 in that fact. I will say that he has more speed than Eddie George. Eddie George would get caught. He wasn't as fast as Derrick Henry. But calling him a one-dimensional back, I think that's taking too much of a shot at Derrick Henry when he is your feature back, your starting running back, and you haven't seen that much of Derrick Henry. We really haven't. DeMarco Murray's been taking carries away from him the last 2 seasons. Now, let's go through the next, 5, 6, 7 games when he's the featured back. I know he'll split sometime with Dion Lewis, but I can't call him a one-dimensional back. I think that's unfair.
In the NFL, I don't think Derrick Henry is a feature back. I think he's a good running back. He's a better than good running back. I'm not anti-Derrick Henry in this thing.
Calling a man one-dimensional is not a compliment.
He's not a guy who's going to pick up the tough yardage in short yardage situations, and we've seen that over the last couple of years.
He's picked up 3rd and 1s before. You're talking about the guy like he can't do it. And again, that's wrong. He can catch screen passes. Look at Jacksonville last year. He has hands. Chris Johnson had brick hands. He could not catch anything, so they didn't even throw it to him. Derrick Henry, on the other hand, he can do a lot more than you're giving him credit for. I'm out on this argument.
All right, my whole thing
I hate this argument.
And look, again, I'm not saying, and I think this is what a lot of people misunderstand, and Buckethead, our guy, misunderstood it on Twitter when he said I shouldn't die on this hill. And Buckethead was incorrect.
You're dying.
Well, Buckethead thought I said Derrick Henry is Chris Johnson. Buckethead said Derrick Henry is the next Chris Johnson.
But I agree with Buckethead.
That's not what I'm saying.
Derrick Henry is not even like Chris Johnson. That's not
what I said. Derrick Henry is more like Chris Johnson than he's like Eddie George. Who are the best 2 running backs in Titans history? Eddie George and Chris Johnson. Who does Derrick Henry look like physically? Eddie George, but he's not like that type of running back. He's closer to the style of Chris Johnson than the style of Eddie George, and that is my entire point. He's not the next Chris Johnson. He is not Chris Johnson, but he's closer to Chris Johnson than he is closer to Eddie George.
Well, I think he can do a lot more than both of them. I'll be honest. I think that he's multifaceted, not one-dimensional. I think that's where I can't get on board with you. You said earlier in this feature that he was one-dimensional. That's wrong.
And that's today's Extra Point presented by American Jewelry here on A to Z Sports Nashville.com.